Welcome to Daily 5 for Monday, August 26th, 2024. Before I get too far into this 5, I want to give credit because I missed this story, and I really should have seen it, but I want to give credit to Jason Howell and Jeff Jarvis's series AI Inside. I've been a supporter of Jason Howell's Techsploder show on Patreon since it launched pretty much, and they also do, he and Mr. Jarvis do a secondary show called AI Inside, which, as the title might tell you, focuses on AI topics, and I enjoy it because they do get into some of the ethics and the actual infrastructure behind AI as opposed to just freaking out over the surface level stuff. And they brought up this story from the fourth, so about halfway through the month, so about 12 days ago or so is when the posting date on it is. A story over on The Verge about the ex-CEO of Google, well, one of the ex-CEOs of Google, Eric Schmidt, who demonstrated magnificently how people can come across as being brilliant because of something they did and yet prove themselves to be fools when they actually are speaking and don't realize that being on camera means your words are being recorded. Boy, that's stunning. Anyway, as part of a talk at, I believe, Stanford to a group of students from what I see here, yes, Stanford students during a recent interview, at one point Schmidt suggested that anybody who's getting into an AI startup should just go ahead and steal outright any competitors that they want to try to outdo. He used the example of TikTok, however, I would imagine you could apply this example to anything. Later, he tried to clarify his comments, strangely, by saying, "Oh, I'm not suggesting you should steal music." He's very specific about that, but did say again that you should just steal all of their content and duplicate it and then see if it takes off. And if it does, well, then you'll have the resources to hire lawyers to go ahead and fix whatever legal problems you might run into. And of course, this is the move fast and break things mentality that for a long time people just ignored because we were getting dazzling things from technology and weren't really thinking about what the ethics of what that would do in the future and how these products and these companies might become, not acting in our best interests. And so this is not surprising. I'm not really sure why anybody is shocked that this is something this individual would say. But again, it does reinforce, and this is beyond just AI stuff, because I've said this specific to AI, but you should really apply this to everything. This is sort of a component of the whole companies are not your friends idea. So you don't necessarily have to only apply this to Silicon Valley. You can apply this everywhere because I guarantee you, and we've seen many examples over the years, far before there was ever Silicon Valley, this idea of stealing something that somebody else is doing that they're making money at and just trying to figure out what you can legally get away with, that is not a new concept. That's not something that suddenly just came up when Silicon Valley started doing it. That has existed forever. That's where the term industrial espionage comes from. The theft of other people's ideas to try to copy them and hopefully make the same money or more doing the same thing they are. So this is not really all that shocking, but it does, again, underscore that these are the people who are in charge of some of the biggest companies and the products that we all use. Now, of course, he's not at Google anymore, but you better believe that this mentality still lives there. If this is how it was at the beginning, that's not just suddenly going to evaporate because a person leaves a company. No, this is a baked-in ethos behind not only Silicon Valley, but most large companies. Most large companies look around, and if they're struggling or they can't figure out how to do something, they will just outright copy what other people do. And that's not necessarily by itself always a bad thing if it is done in an effort to improve something, if there is an actual deficit that is being addressed, and if it is done the right way, which is to look at it and not just blanket copy it, but come up with your own approach, which could organically lead to a better method to do something. But what he's suggesting here is, no, just copy it all and see if you can start making money at it, and then just throw lawyers and money at any problems that might arise. And that is the moral vacuum that exists behind many of the companies and, again, many of the products that we use. And this is why you see so many issues with them coming up after the fact when they become entrenched, when they are things that we too heavily depend on and rely on. And so when this stuff gets revealed, it shouldn't be surprising that companies aren't doing things that are really in the best interest and benefit of consumers. So this, again, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but it once again reinforces that this is the actual intent behind many of the things that we use on a daily basis. So just something to look at, be aware, and calculate into what you're doing and what you're using. Later.